bumps, everybody take your shoulder, and this one's a little bit tricky because things like elbow bump, that's pretty easy to bump someone else's elbow. But with a shoulder bump, you kind of have to lean over and then go like this with your shoulder, and it's really hard to get two shoulders to bump together like that. So let's see if you guys can do it, a shoulder bump. Taught you all the snail bump before. So this one's kind of interesting. What you do is when you're going to do a fist bump, instead of doing a fist bump, you have somebody stick, one person keeps their hand like this, but the other person puts their hands like this, and then this is really cool. I'm gonna turn around this way so you can see it better from this way. So they're going in to do a fist bump, but instead one person does this and they go underneath like that. And what does that look like to you guys? It's a snail! So this is supposed to be like the shell, and this is supposed to be like the little feelers. Are they eye stalks? I can't remember. They might actually be their eyes. I need to look that up. I think it's their eyes actually. But anyways, snails have these two little things that wiggle around like that on top of their heads. And so it looks like that, looks like a little snail. So remember, you go like this, but one person has to go under. And you can do it the other way too. The other person can go under like this, and then you can do the snail that way too. So how about you guys, what you do is you pick one person to be the shell and one person to be the little wiggly things first. And so then you can do it that way, and then you can trade and then have the other person do the other part. Cool? All right, so let's see your snail bumps. Give a snail bump to a friend next to you. Give a snail bump while we sing this song. Give a snail bump to a friend next to you. Give a snail bump. Oh, hey, did you guys notice I changed the strings? Okay, I know last time or the time before, one of the two, when I didn't put down my guitar right away and then I forgot what to say, but I think I remember it now, so that's okay. So I just want to bring this up to you guys and show you. I put on new guitar strings, and so this is really exciting. And so the guitar strings are all brand new now. They're really nice because actually with the older guitar strings, if you looked at the strings right around here, because that's where, this is called the pick, and you use the pick to go across. Okay, well, it sounds bad right now, obviously, because I'm not playing a chord here. I'll play a chord for you guys, that way it doesn't sound so bad. Don't hold it, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, ready? There we go. So that sounds really nice. So this is the place right in here. That's where the pick touches the strings. And so that gets worn down when the strings get old, and then you have to switch them to new ones. And so with the older strings, it was really wearing off right here. But now because these are brand new, it looks so nice and shiny, and they're all brand new. So that's really nice. Isn't that awesome? Hello everyone, and welcome to Children's Church. I'm so glad that you guys are all here today. So I just showed you the new strings I have on my guitar, and I looked up some of those National Day things, and there are some really silly ones, and so I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget them. So here's one of the National Days for today, which is November 14th. It's Pickle Day. Do any of you guys like pickles? Also, did you guys know that pickles are actually just, I'm pretty sure it's cucumbers. I'm pretty sure that pickles are just cucumbers that have gone through this special process in this liquid and then they turn into pickles. Isn't that so cool? So I wonder if any of you guys like pickles. And then it's also Spicy Guacamole Day. Have you guys ever had guacamole before? So sometimes what you can do is you can take an avocado and then you scoop out all the avocado and then you mush it up and then you mix in some other things, like some people like to put an onion or garlic or salt or those kinds of things. And then that makes guacamole. And so then when you're eating tortilla chips, sometimes people eat tortilla chips with salsa and sometimes people eat them with guacamole. So apparently it is Spicy Guacamole Day. And then this is the most exciting one on my list. It is Family PJ Day. Have you guys ever had a time when everyone in your family was wearing PJs together? Sometimes people call them pajamas or just PJs. I know that when I was little, when we'd open up presents on Christmas morning, we would all be wearing our PJs. So is there any time when you guys have had your whole family wear PJs? Well, it sounds like today might be the day because it's National Family PJ Day. And also Pickle Day and Spicy Guacamole Day. You know, those are such a weird combination of three things to have together on one day, right? I don't know, do you guys think you could eat pickles and spicy guacamole and all be wearing PJs? Huh, that might be interesting. So maybe tonight for dinner, maybe you guys could ask your parents if you could all wear PJs at dinner. That would be kind of cool. Or maybe if you're watching this in the morning, maybe you guys are still in your PJs and maybe you could have breakfast together all wearing your PJs. All right, well, let's talk through our schedule. We just did our Alleluias. We're about to go see Jimmy and meet someone new from the church. We'll come back here for Bible time. We'll have offering and prayer. Because it's Jimmy's week, we won't go see Amanda, but she did give me the craft that I can show you guys. And actually, I'm going to show you a little bit about how to put it together, just to make sure you know how to do it. And then we're going to watch some of our music videos, and then we'll get an update on the plans. All right, well, I hope you all have a great time with Jimmy and this new face that you're going to meet from Park Street Church. I'll see you back here for Bible time in just a little bit. Bye.
Hello there, Children's Church. How are you today? I'm doing pretty good. Wow, can you believe that we're already partway through the month of November? I think Thanksgiving is actually next week. I'm really looking forward to that, especially since I'll be seeing some of my cousins who I haven't seen in a really long time. That should make it a really, really great Thanksgiving dinner. Well, that and all the food. I really like the food at holiday dinners like this. Now, you might actually remember that the new jokes I have to tell you today are about food. You see, the last time we had a Zoom interview, I learned this really silly joke from Mr. Zane, who's a missionary for the church. And Miss Christina also told us a few weeks ago that it was National Pasta Day. And I didn't tell any pasta jokes back then, so I prepared some new pasta jokes that I could tell you today. Are you ready? First up, which letter in the alphabet tastes the best with tomato sauce? Well, I think it's probably spaghetti. Get it? Because it sounds like the word spaghetti has the letter T in it? Okay, I think technically technically it does have the letter T in it, but like you hear it in a special way. Spaghetti. Ah! Next up, where did the spaghetti go to dance? Well, I think it went to the meat ball. Get it? Because a ball is a special kind of event where people go to dance, and sometimes you eat meatballs with spaghetti. Oh, and one more. What kind of pasta kind of sounds like it has a cold? How about mac and sneeze? Achoo! Get it? You know, because sneeze and cheese, they rhyme, they kind of sound like each other. Weren't those jokes fun? You know, there usually isn't any pasta in my family's Thanksgiving dinner, but I had so much fun with all these jokes that I may ask if we can have some anyway. Now, it was also really fun when we talked to Mr. Zane and Miss Elise to hear how they're teaching people about Jesus as missionaries. So today, I thought we could try calling someone else who knows a ton about missions. Ready? It's the Jimmy Interview Show with our very special guest star, Andrea Zavara! Yay! Oh man, I didn't actually call her. I forgot to hit the button again. Okay, where is it? Hi there. My name is Jimmy the Puppet, and I'm calling you from Children's Church.
Hi, Jimmy. It's great to be with you this morning.
Oh, thanks. It's great to see you too. Hey, would it be okay if I ask you some questions to share with the kids?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Thank you so much. First off, would you like to introduce yourself in case any of the kids don't know you?
Sure. My name is Andrea Zavara, but actually some people call me Mama Missions because I work in the missions office.
Mama Missions? Ooh, that's funny. Imagine if you had a kid named Missions or something. Well, our first real question, what is the name of your job here at the church?
Well, I'm the Director of Global Outreach.
Ooh, the Director of Global Outreach. That sounds really neat. As the Director of Global Outreach, what is it that you do for the church?
Well, my husband and I used to be missionaries for the church, and he actually does still do mission work. But I take care of missionaries, and I help our people at Park Street get to know our missionaries and to learn more about missions or what God is doing all over the world.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, next question. What is your favorite thing about being here at Park Street?
Well, that has to do with missions as well. You might know that over 200 years ago, Park Street sent out its first missionaries. In fact, they left from here in Boston and they got on a boat and sailed all the way to Hawaii. And we celebrated that 200-year anniversary just a few years ago. But Park Street is still sending missionaries or members of our church all over the world, even today, to tell people about God's love.
Wow! We've been sending out missionaries for more than 200 years?
Yeah, that's right.
That's a super long time.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Next up, do you have any fun stories or fun facts about being here at Park Street?
Well, I mentioned that I was a missionary, and I became a missionary because I told God that I wanted to have beautiful feet.
Feet? You wanted to have beautiful feet? What on earth could feet have to do with being a missionary?
Well, it really has something to do with one of my favorite verses in the Bible.
Oh, that's perfect. perfect. My next question was actually whether you had a favorite Bible verse you could share with us. So maybe you could share that one.
Yes, so it's from Romans 10:13, and it says, "Everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved." But it goes on to say that how can they believe unless they've heard? And how can they hear unless someone goes and preaches to them? And how can they preach unless they are sent? And then it says, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. So I told God, I want to have beautiful feet, and I want my feet to take me anywhere that I can tell them about the love of Jesus.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a super cool verse, and I bet your feet really are beautiful.
I don't know about that, but...
Anyway, there is one more thing. Sometimes here in Children's Church, we like to tell some jokes for the kids. Do you know any jokes that you could tell?
I do know a joke, and I know one. It's kind of about feet, too.
Ooh, perfect.
Okay, who was the shortest man in the Bible?
Let's see. I know Josiah was the king when he was just a little boy. And I know Zacchaeus was really short, but I don't know who would be the shortest. Okay, I don't know. Who was the shortest person in the Bible?
Well, in the book of Job, one of his friends was Bildad the Shuhite.
Yeah, I guess I remember that. But wait, where does it say that he's short?
Take a look at your shoes. How tall are they?
Well, they're pretty small. They're right down near the ground. Oh.
Mine are about that tall. Can you imagine someone that's the height of a shoe?
Oh, I get it. Because when it says shoe height, it's really about where he's from, but it sounds like he's the same height as a shoe.
That's right.
Oh, that's a really funny joke. Thank you for telling it to us, Mama Missions. And thank you for answering all the questions. It was really cool to meet you.
Well, it's great to be here today, Jimmy.
Well, I hope that you have a great week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Wow, that was really cool. That sounds like a lot of really great stuff that Miss Andrea, or should I say Mama Missions, does to help people learn about Jesus. I bet her feet really are beautiful, just like the Bible verse says. Now, are you all ready for our Bible time? Let's go listen to Miss Christina. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great week.
Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope you had a great time with Jimmy and Mama Missions. Isn't that so wonderful that that's one of her names? So Mama Missions, or as other people might know her, Andrea Zavara, just like what she said, is she and her husband used to be missionaries for the church. And now that Andrea, Mama Missions, is back here at Park Street, she's the director of global outreach. And she helps all of the missionaries that we have here at the church to be cared for. She cares for missionaries now. And she helps people here in the church to learn about the missionaries that we have here at the church and to learn about what it means to do missions all over the world, what it means to tell others about Jesus. Isn't that so cool? And you know, there's actually something that has to do with missions that happened all this past week from last Sunday until today. And it was a missions conference. And so Andrea was a part of this and a part of sharing with people here at Park Street about the missions work that the Department of Missions here at the church does. And so there were so many different events where people got to meet missionaries and they got to learn about Park Street Church missions. Isn't that really cool? Oh, and also today is our special kids missions program. And so if you are watching this video either before 9:45 in the morning or before 5:30 at night, you can take part in this missions conference. What we're doing is at the church is there are some kids who are meeting missionaries. But we're also going to turn it into a Zoom call. And so if you're at home right now and it's just before 9:45 or just before 5:30, then you can join too. So I'm gonna have my phone out, and all your parents have to do is they just have to go onto our website called onrealm.org, and what they do is they have to register for the event, and once they've registered for the event, then I can send them the Zoom link. Or also you could probably just email me, because most of you guys who are watching this video, I know who you are. So if your parents email me, then I can just send you guys the Zoom link. Isn't that cool? So then you guys could just get on Zoom and you could participate and you could learn about some missionaries from the church. Oh, and if you do want to register, I'm gonna have the link down below. And so I'll be checking that registration. I'll be checking my email. So if anybody wants to join in, even if you're a little bit late, that's totally fine. Join in late. And on Zoom, you'll be able to ask questions. So Mr. Sam is going to have an iPad that he's going to have, and he's going to be able to help you guys with any questions that you have. And so if you have questions, you can put them in the chat box, and then Mr. Sam will ask them to our missionaries. Isn't that great? And speaking of missions, our book today is kind of related to that. So what we have been doing is we have been going through a series of books that I've been calling Foundations of Faith. And what that basically means is, what does it mean to be a Christian? And so on the back of this book, you can see the 3 books that we have already read in our series. We've read Who is God? What is Prayer? And what is the Bible? And so today we're going to be reading the book, What is Church? So before I get started, I want you guys to think inside of your head, what do you think is the answer to that question? What is church? A meeting place. I love to go to church. Do you? It's a meeting place where all God's children come and gather in one space. All the believers were together. Acts 2, verse 44. Our church is a meeting place. We all come here on Sundays to worship together. Oh, worshiping God together. It's where we worship Jesus. He is the one true King. It's where we pray and learn God's truth. It's where we praise and sing. Praise God in his holy temple. Psalm 150, verse 1. Celebrating the good news. It's where we celebrate the news that Jesus came to save, and all of those who trust him receive the life he gave. It is not that we loved God, it is that he loved us and sent his Son. 1 John 4, verse 10. Now, this is really cool. The kids are actually working on a craft that we've done here at the church. Maybe I could do the craft with you guys sometime. All God's believers. Did you know that church is more than just a place you go? All God's children are his church from now and long ago. I will be their God and they will be my people. Ezekiel 37, verse 27. Did you guys know that? That the church is not just a building, but the church is everyone who believes in God. In the Bible, when it talks about the church, it's talking about all the people who are a part of God's family. They are the church. Isn't that so cool? A family. The church is all of God's people, not something built by hands. The church is one big family gathered across the lands. You are also members of God's family. Ephesians 2, verse 19. Anyone who believes in Jesus and who is a part of God's family is a part of the church. A place to do our part. Like different parts of a body that all do different things, the church's members are given gifts to glorify their King. You are the body of Christ. Each one of you is a part of it. 1 Corinthians 12, verse 27. Oh, this page doesn't want to turn. They're stuck together. 1 second. There we go. God-given purpose. God has given all his people a job to do on earth. He's had a plan and a purpose for you even before your birth. Before you were born, I set you apart to serve me. Jeremiah 1, verse 5. Serving others. We'll serve in many different ways with our hearts full of delight. No matter what it is we do, we are followers of Christ. So eat and drink and do everything else for the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31. Encouraging others. We are called to build each other up with our deeds and with our words, encouraging one another to love and do good works. Let us consider how we can stir up one another to love. Hebrews 10, verse 24. Loving our neighbors. We are called to love our neighbors, our sisters and our brothers. The world will know we follow God when we love each other. If you love one another, everyone will know that you are my disciples. John 13, verse 25. Oh, this one's having, oh, there we go. Shining light. The church is like a bright city sitting on a hilltop, shining to far off places, God's light that never stops. You are the light of the world. Matthew 5, verse 14. God-given life. And this is the light we carry, the message of God's love. Anyone who believes in him gets life from God above. Anyone who believes in Jesus will not die, but will have eternal life. From John 3, verse 16. Sharing the good news with the world. And this part is actually really important for this whole missions conference we've been talking about, because that's what missionaries do, is they go out into the whole world to tell people the good news. God gave his church a mission to share and spread good news. So go make followers of Jesus you really cannot lose. Go and make disciples of all nations. Matthew 28, verse 19. Where you belong. The next time that you go to church, remember all along, you're part of God's big family, and it's where you belong. God chose you to be his people. 1 Peter 2, verse 9. Isn't that so cool to learn about how the church is not just a building, but the church is everyone in the world who is a part of God's family? And the missionaries that we have here at the church, just like what we were talking about on that second to last page, is they are doing part of the mission that God gave the church, his people, to go tell people the good news about Jesus. And so what they're doing is when they go tell people about Jesus, and when those people join God's family, the church, God's family, God's people gets even bigger. All right, well, I need to go put my books away, this one and my other one here, and go get out the offering basket so that we can get started with our offering time. So give me 1 second and I'll be right back with the offering basket. All right, so I'm all ready to get started with our offering time. What you can do is, if you'd like to join me for offering time, you can get a basket of your very own. It might be a wicker basket, but it could also be a bowl from a kitchen, a plastic tub, or even the lid to a plastic tub. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna put on one of our music videos. And so that gives you a little bit of extra time to go grab a basket. And when the song is over, we'll get started with our offering time.
God of heaven and earth, you are amazing. You hold me up with your hand, you give me faith, and I will put my hope in you alone, in you alone. God of heaven and earth, you are amazing. You hold me up with your hand, you give me faith, and I will put my hope in you alone, in you alone.
I will put my hope in you, Lord. You alone are everything I need. My hope is in you alone, in you alone.
All right, so we're all ready to get started with our offering time. What you can do is you can take your hand and gently place it in the bottom of the basket. Some friends like to touch their heart first and then touch the bottom of the basket. And when you do that, you're telling Jesus that you want to give him your heart as an offering or a gift. And what that means is you're telling Jesus that you want to give him the love that is inside of your heart. Also, if you have anyone in the room with you, you can take your basket and you can pass it back and forth. And as you're passing it back and forth, you can each take turns putting your hand in the basket. And while you all are passing your baskets back and forth, I am going to play our song Sanctuary. So if you know it and you want to sing along with me, go on ahead. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary. All right, so now we're going to spend a little bit of time praying. So I want you to find whatever position works best for you so that it helps your mind and your heart to be focused on the prayer. So anything from your head all the way down to the tips of your toes, find a good position for you. For some people, that's putting their hands together or maybe in their lap. For some people, it might mean closing their eyes or sitting down. So you find whatever works best for you. All right, let's pray. Dear God, thank you so much for the church. God, thank you that this book reminded us that the church is not just a building, but the church is your people, the people of God. God, thank you so much that the church is a place where we can be encouraged, where we belong, because we belong in the people of God. Because when we choose to love you, when we say, I have decided to follow you, God, that makes us a part of your family. And you adopt us into your family, and so that we are all your children. So God, thank you so much that the church, the people of God, is a place where we belong. God, thank you so much that the church is a place where we can be encouraged. God, thank you that the church is a place where we can learn about you, where we can learn about how you sent your son Jesus to earth, how we can learn all about Jesus and everything that he has done for us. God, thank you so much that the church is a place where we can grow in our faith, where because we are learning more about you, is that we are learning more and more about how good you are and about how we can trust you, because we know that you are good and you are perfect and you love us. And so that helps us to trust you more and more. God, thank you that the church is not just in our city, that the church is not just in our state, in our country, or even in our continent. But God, thank you that the church, your people, is all over the world. God, thank you so much for this missions conference that we learned about during Bible time that is happening right now. God, thank you that we have missionaries that are going out into the whole wide world to tell more people about you. And so that your church, your people can get bigger and bigger and bigger. God, we want everyone in the whole wide world to hear your good news, to hear about how much you love them. We want everyone in the whole wide world to be a part of your church, to be a part of the people of God. So God, please help the missionaries at Park Street Church to share that love with everyone, to tell the good news about Jesus with everyone they meet. And God, please help missionaries at all of the other churches in the world to also share the good news of you and of Jesus and of his love. God, please help us to be missionaries too, to our neighbors, to our friends, to people in our family, to tell people about Jesus and about Jesus' amazing love. God, thank you so much for your church, the people of God. Amen. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining me for offering time and for prayer. I have the craft that I want to show you, but I need to get a table over here because I need to do some gluing and cutting to show you guys how to put together part of it. So I'm gonna go grab a table and I'll be right back. All right, everyone, so I got the table and it's a little bit lower than I planned on having, but that's because I'm filming in toddler too, and so all of the tables and chairs are very short. So hopefully you guys can see this because I'm a bit far away from the camera because I'm so down low right now. But anyways, this is the craft that Amanda came up with, and so you can see that there's a church, but then on the back it says, the church isn't just a building, it's the people of God. And so then it has all of these people here too. So Amanda was kind of in a rush today. So she was going on a trip this week. Because remember, I was on a trip last week. Amanda decided she wanted to go on a trip this week. And so she was packing her bags and she thought that if she'd spent more time working on the craft that she might be late for her plane flight. And so I said, don't worry, Amanda. I said, I'll show the kids how it goes. So she had just done a little bit, but she hadn't colored all of it. So I'm gonna show you guys how this works. It's actually really cool. So online, if you go into the description box below, you are going to see a link, and that link will be the template. And so what you do is this picture, the one where you see like the doors and the windows and the cross at the top that you color for the church, you print out just by itself. And then for the other two pages, there is, it looks like the exact same shape as the church, but there's kind of a little bit extra here, and then it shows the three windows. So you're gonna print that out, and then on the back, you're gonna make sure that you print out the people and then that description there. Because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be gluing them together, because these windows are supposed to be like stained glass windows. Have you guys ever seen a stained glass window before? Not all churches have them, but some do, and they're really pretty. And so I think that's why Amanda included it in this craft. But it's kind of cool because what we're gonna do is with this church building is we're actually gonna cut out those pieces there, and then you're going to be decorating the stained glass windows on this part, so it's gonna come through. So I'm gonna show you guys. I started working on an example. So here is the church building that I colored. And remember, you're gonna cut these out so you don't have to color them. And then I colored the people on this side. And then to show you an example of some different ways that you could do the stained glass window part, I did 3 different examples. So in this one, I copied what Amanda did, which is always really fun to do. You take a big handful of crayons and you hold them all at the same time, and then you make circles, and it makes all the circles happen at the same time. So that one is really fun to do. And then for this one, what I did is I took a black marker and I just drew a whole bunch of different lines. So it makes a whole bunch of different triangles and little diamond shapes and all different kinds of shapes there. And that's kind of what stained glass is like, because stained glass is made up of tiny little pieces of glass that are all kind of glued together. So if you make a whole bunch of different black lines, then you can color in each of the different shapes with different colors. And this last one here is actually tissue paper. And so I took scraps of tissue paper and ripped up teeny tiny little bits and then glued them on there. And so those are 3 different options for how you can make your stained glass window. Okay, so now we're going to do the part where we put it all together. And so I'm first gonna cut out these windows. Okay, so I have now cut out those 3 parts. And then you might be wondering, well, why, Miss Christina, did we just not have a church and then just color in the stained glass windows? Why did we have to cut it out? Great question. I asked Amanda that, and she said that she thought because if you wanted to do that scribble thing, then you don't have to worry about staining the lines, because you can just go outside of the scribble thing, because when this lays down on top, it's going to show only just the window part. And she said the other reason is because when you're ripping tissue paper, is sometimes you might have a big piece of tissue paper, it might kind of go outside of the lines a little bit. And so it's easier because you can just stick a whole bunch of tissue paper on. You don't have to worry about fitting it perfectly inside of the little window shape. And so then when you lay it down on top, then it just perfectly makes that little window shape. And then also it's kind of cool just because it gives it a little bit of a 3D effect. So you can kind of see that window there. All right, so now what we have to do is we have to put glue on all of these white spaces on this paper. And then we're going to hold these together, and then we're gonna give them a good press. So let me add the glue, and then we can press the 2 pieces together. And this part's kind of hard because there's glue, so it's hard to adjust it. So you can always ask a grown-up for help if you need it. I might have to try a second time here. It's also kind of nice because you can kind of line up the windows, and then once you think the windows are lined up really nicely, then you can press the paper down. Okay. All right, so now that I have put the glue on and pressed the 2 pieces of paper together, what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the church shape, and just make sure that you leave a little bit of extra over here at the top, and then that way the cross will stay on top of it. All right, look at how awesome that is. So it's all cut out. I'll hold it up close to you guys. And you have the people on the back. And then if you want, if there's any spots that are just kind of like maybe they're not sticking together very well, then we can take a little bit of extra glue and stick it down. Oh, my bad. So there you have it. There's the craft. So thank you so much, Amanda, for working on it. And I hope Amanda makes her plane flight. I bet she will. She just wanted a little bit of extra time, and so I told her that I could do all the coloring for her. All right, well, we're going to play some of our music videos now. And then when we're done with the music videos, we're gonna head on over to my house to take a check on the peppers because, well, I was gone the whole week, and so we're gonna see how the peppers have done. Although it's pretty cold outside, so I don't know, I'm kind of interested to see what it looks like. All right, well, I hope you all have a great time watching these music videos, and I'll see you in my backyard in just a little bit. Bye.
Everywhere I go on this road, high and low, where I go with you. So I won't be afraid, this my home, come what may. Where I go with you. Where I go with you. There's a spirit I cannot contain. There's a spirit same power that raised Jesus up from the grave, the same spirit I cannot contain. Everywhere I go on this road, high and low, where I go with you. So I won't be afraid, this my hope, come what may. Where I go with you. Oh, where I go with you. Where I go with you. Breath upon these bones, your fire in my soul, your kingdom is my home, and I don't walk alone. Everywhere I go on this road, high and low, where I go with you. So I won't be afraid, this my hope, come what may. Where I go with you. Everywhere I go on this road, high and low, where I go with you. So I won't be afraid, this my hope, come what may. Where I go with you. Where I go with you. Where I go with you.
It's always like springtime with you, making all things new. Your light is breaking through the dark. This love, it is sweeter than wine, bringing joy, bringing life. Your hope is rising like the dawn. This is what you do, this is what you do. You make me come alive. This is what you do, this is what you do. It's always like springtime with you, making all things new. Your light is breaking through the dark. This love, it is sweeter than wine, bringing joy, bringing life. Your hope is rising like the dawn. This is what you do, this is what you do. You make me come alive. This is what you do, this is what you do. You make me come alive. This is what you do, this is what you do. You make me come alive. This is what you do, this is what you do. You make me come alive. 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 It's like I'm living for the first time, finally living for the first time. It's like I'm living for the first time, finally living for the first time. It's like I'm living for the first time, finally living for the first time. It's run dry. It's an open heaven you're releasing, and we will never be denied. 'Cause we're stirring up deep, deep wells. We're stirring up deep, deep waters. We're gonna dance in the river. Dance in the river. 'Cause we're stirring up deep, deep wells. We're stirring up deep, deep waters. We're gonna jump in the river. Jump in the river. Deep cries out to deep cries out to deep cries out to deep cries out to. We cry out to you, Jesus. I've got a river of living water, a fountain that never will run dry. It's an open heaven you're releasing, and we will never be denied. 'Cause we're stirring up deep, deep wells. We're stirring up deep, deep waters. We're gonna dance in the river. Dance in the river. 'Cause we're stirring up deep, deep wells. We're stirring up deep, deep waters. We're gonna jump in the river. Jump in the everybody sing it out. Deep cries out to deep cries out to deep cries out to deep cries out to. We cry out to you, Jesus. Deep cries out to deep cries out to deep cries out to deep cries out to. We cry out to you, Jesus. We're falling into deeper waters, calling after you. We're walking into deeper waters, going after you. Everybody clap your hands. If he goes to the left, then we'll go to the left. And if he goes to the right, then we'll go to the right. We're gonna jump, 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 jump in the river. Jump, 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 jump. Everybody, if he goes to the left, then we'll go to the left. And if he goes to the right, then we'll go to the right. We're gonna dance, 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 dance in the river. Dance, 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 dance. Everybody, if he goes to the left, then we'll go to the left. And if he goes to the right, then we'll go to the right. We're gonna shout, 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 shout in the river. Shout, 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 shout. Deep cries out to deep cries out to deep cries out to deep cries out to. We cry out to you, Jesus. Deep cries out to deep cries out to deep cries out to deep cries out to. We cry out to you, Jesus.
Hello everyone and welcome to my backyard. So if you'll notice, it's pretty dark outside and that's because it's nighttime. So I spent so much time getting ready for the missions event that here we are, the sun has already set and it's nighttime. But if I turn on some lights, I think we'll still be able to see all of the stuff in the backyard. Alright, so let's go check it out. Alright, so it's probably going to take my phone a second to focus here. There we go.
So the tomatoes are already all gone, but if you remember last week we were looking at the green peppers, and so I wanted to see how they're doing this week. Now there's been quite a bit of rain today, so it's kind of wet, but let's see if we can, oh, there it is. Can my camera focus? Try that again. There we go. So it looks like they've probably stopped growing. I think they got to their biggest size. Oh, here's another one. Oh, this is so wet, friends. It's so wet from the rain. Here, I'll move the leaves out of the way. Oh no, I'm trying to move the leaves, it's not working. All right, here's the other one. And then I think there was like a really small one that we had somewhere. Where'd it go? Oh, this right here. This guy. So it looks like these are probably about as big as they're going to be. So I think what we'll need to do is I'm gonna have to pick them and then show them to Miss Cara and ask Miss Cara if there's anything special she knows that we can do with peppers that are not quite fully grown yet.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget the missions conference. We have the really special event today. So if you are free from 9:45 to 10:45, or maybe like 10 to 11, somewhere in there in the morning, or from about 4:30 until 5:30 tonight. So I think I said that wrong earlier. So in the evening, we're actually doing it from like 4:30 to 5:30. So if you're free during either of these two times, then make sure that you have a grown-up email me or go onto the website and register. And there's going to be a link down below for that, so that we can make sure to get you on the Zoom call if you want to join. All right, well, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day if I don't get to see you on the Zoom call. And I hope you all have a great week. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.